I don't use all these functionalities all the time. Starting from the top, this will be recorded, so all of you know that for students who can't make it today, we are gonna put this on the YouTube channel for the graduate school and then also upload it to GSA's website for you. So this is just a really informal meeting so we can talk about the Graduate Research Forum. So submissions portal, that's open, so you can start the submission process anytime you would like. And then they're due, let's see, September 23rd. So it'll be a week from Wednesday. You'll need to submit to the portal. So we're gonna start out today with just a few polls. So once again, functionality, I have to figure out what I'm doing. So I am curious about your conference experience. So hopefully you can see the poll. It's asked if you've presented at a professional conference before or if this will be your first time. So let us know where you're at in your academic experiences. So I'm gonna leave the voting open for about another 10 seconds or so. And then once I end the poll, you'll be able to see the results, which is one really nice functionality of Zoom if you've never used the Zoom polling function. All right, so we're gonna end the poll and then I'm gonna share the results. All right, so hopefully everyone can see the results. Yeah? Alyssa, Haley, can you see the results? Yeah, okay. That's my one thing with online stuff. I'm like, can they see what I'm seeing? All right, so we have a mix, but over half of you, this will be the first time presenting, which I think will be really exciting. Presenting here at the GRF will be a really good experience for you. I think, at least I would argue, less pressure than going to like a national conference. So, but really good experience to prepare for when you go to present at like a regional or a national conference. And then about almost half of you have presented before, so that's really cool too. So growing those academic experiences. So we're gonna do one more poll. So I'm gonna stop sharing those results and then I am going to, once again, launch it. So this is to try and help us get a good gauge on why you joined us today. So what would you like to hear about? So there's an overview of the GRF format, just a general Q&A where you can ask us questions either verbally or we can use the chat function, which is really nice. Or we do have one person here, Alyssa, who's one of our wonderful GAs who's used Powtoon before. So she said she'd be willing just to give a quick demo on how to use Powtoon. I'm just gonna give this a few seconds to populate.
Kristen, Alyssa's also having a little bit of technical difficulties, so she's working on reloading her Zoom, so we might just need to pivot a little bit.
Sure. Absolutely no problem. I also get that. So my internet is hit or miss because I live out in the country. All right, so let's share the results here. So about 76% of you would like an overview of the GRF format. We've got folks who are interested in a general Q&A, so we can do that. And then also a quick demo of Powtoon. So if Alyssa gets back up and running, we'll do that for sure. All right, she gave us 2 thumbs up, so that's awesome. So let's start with the overview first, and then if Alyssa, Haley, or Deanna, if you want to chime in at any time, please feel free in case I forget anything. And then we'll do the demo and then a general Q&A. So if anybody wants to pick our brains about the GRF format. So hopefully you all noticed that we are going to go virtual this year. So we were really trying to think of different ways to do a conference, especially when you have the flexibility of a virtual environment versus how you might be a little more constrained with in-person. So for us, we talked a lot about the traditional types of research presentations, right? So you have your poster presentations and then those oral talks, which typically last anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. We thought, what else could we do? And what else could students do that would be really cool? Different, I don't know, kind of breaking the box is how we described it compared to your traditional conference presentation. So We were also thinking about like the 3MT, right? And how those turn out to be such really neat, powerful presentations in a shorter amount of time. So building in kind of that 3MT format, but also with some flexibility. So if you haven't filled out the submission form yet, once you get into that, you'll see all of these different kind of suggestions that we gave you for different ways to present. You can still present traditionally, but we also want to encourage you to think about maybe making a YouTube video of an experiment or doing a showcase of something that you've written, right? So you could do an oral presentation of your work. If you play a musical instrument and have composed a piece, I mean, I think that would be wonderful to be able to record and to present to folks. Maybe you're doing qualitative interviews. So maybe you want to do kind of a play on that interview process to show the audience how it is to go in and interview someone. So let's see, what else did we have here? So to do interactive art displays, right? So maybe we have some photographers out there, this is just off the top of my head, where you could put some really neat presentations together based on the photography you've taken. I always go back to the conducting the experiment. I think that would be really wonderful and very interactive for the audience who's maybe never seen that type of science happen, right? That unfolding of the experiment process. You could possibly showcase an electronic portfolio. Maybe if you have any other interactive type of activity that goes along with your research or your creative endeavors, you could do it that way also. Let's see. So different platforms. So Alyssa will do a quick showing of the Powtoon, but you know, for those of you who are familiar with WordPress, so think of a lot of blogging and things of that nature, you could do Wix or Weebly, which is for websites, YouTube, right? So if you're going to record like a solo reading or a solo composition, you could use YouTube, experiments, those types of things. And then also the ISSUU. So when you go through the registration form, what you'll see is you'll see a bunch of those options. You'll of course have the traditional options too, but then you'll see a little box that says other. So if you think of something we haven't thought of, right, which would be a fun and intriguing way to present your work, we really encourage you to put that in the other box, right? So don't think that just all of the options we give you are the only things you could do. So you can really have creative freedom here this year with different types of presentation styles. So we also asked you to consider time, right? So I had mentioned the 3MT. So we do give you some options for time. So 3 minutes, 5 minutes, I think 7 minutes was the third option if memory serves. I think so. But then the same thing here, we do have like an open answer choice box where if you think that you would need a different type of time, you could type that in there for us. So for the virtual formats, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you all at once. So we are going to offer asynchronous, okay? So that would be pre-recorded and also synchronous, meaning that if you wanted to, you could also present live. So on the day of November 6th. So those are some things you would want to think about, right? So however you decide you want to present, what do you think would work better for you, right? So some of us are back on campus and some of us are working remote and some of us are not back on campus. So it really just depends what is best for you, okay? So that's the biggest thing here. So we'll have Miami alumni coming in and be judges. So that's going to be really fabulous. So I've been working on compiling the list of judges, and Dr. Ward has also been taking charge of helping make that judges list. So we've got some really great people who are going to come in virtually, so to speak, so to look at your presentations asynchronously and then also to help manage the synchronous part, right? So they'll come in and be moderators, help keep us on time, ask questions, and then also we'll judge the work synchronously. All right, so I think that is all I have off the top of my head. Haley, Alyssa, Shannon, or Deanna, do you have anything to add that I may have missed? Okay, so they're all shaking their head.
No, I was
Haley,
going to
go
say,
ahead.
just to reiterate, like it was important for us to kind of incorporate a creative piece this year since we have all kind of been adapting to our new lifestyle. So I just definitely challenge everybody to think outside the box. You know, we love a nice research poster, but if you're thinking of something else, then I say definitely go for it.
All right, wonderful. All right, so we're gonna switch gears to Alyssa. So Alyssa, do you think you could show us like a little Powtoon video and folks can see that platform?
Yeah, if Zoom can keep everything together, I think I just lost it. Am I still here? Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, because my mouse isn't moving, so I can't click the share screen button. Okay, I think it just popped back up. Okay, share screen. Select a window or an application that you want to share. Powtoon. And share. Okay, can y'all see the screen?
I currently see the has started sharing screen message.
Okay. Is Powtoon up?
No, not yet.
Oh, really? It says you are screen sharing.
Oh, there it goes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is Powtoon, and it's really just like an animation video website that is free, absolutely free, unless you wanted to like create new characters or things like that. So just to get a gist of the website and how to operate it, just powtoon.com, and that'll take you there. And once you get on the site, you'll go to Discover. Hopefully it works. And give it a second. Okay. Okay, so Discover and then Resources. Hopefully it loads. All right, so that'll open you up to a new tab, which will give you ebook and infographics, any webinar, podcast, things like that. But for tutorials, that'll give you a brief overview of how you can operate the website and navigate making new videos and things like that. So they have welcome to the studio, a whole bunch of stuff about coronavirus, how to create a Powtoon in 8 simple steps. That's what I used when I first used the website. I don't know if it'll let me play the video. I've never done this before, so we can try. It might be some sort of, let's see. I don't know if y'all will be able to hear it. Oh, share them. Okay. If the video decides to load. Okay, I think it's up now. So, do I need to mute my audio so that the sound can play? Does anybody know?
I think if you play it and you turn your audio up, we should be able to hear it. There is a way to share volume, but I wouldn't necessarily know. So if you play it, I can kind of let you know if it's going or not.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Oh no, I broke it.
I break the internet all the time.
Okay, so I don't know where my Zoom video went, so I'm just gonna talk. So with Powtoons, it's really just like a fun and creative way to get your research out there. I did it back in undergrad, and it was something that we utilized to present a PowerPoint just so we wouldn't have to get up there and present it ourselves. Our professor allowed us that option to do so. And it's just something that's really quick. It's user friendly if you have solid Wi-Fi. I clearly don't. But yeah, you can input your own charts, anything like that. If you wanted the characters in the video to speak for you, or if you wanted to record like voiceovers or something like that, so that they would have like your voice in a sense, you would be able to do that, and it's free unless you wanted like to pay for something within the site. But everything it tells you before you pay for anything. So if you all have,
you can design your character too, right? Like you can make it look like you.
You can make it look like you, all of that. So it's fun. I think stop share. That's Powtoons in like 5 minutes.
Well, it was a fabulous 5 minutes.
Ah, thank you. I don't know where my video went. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna open it up now for questions. So you could unmute yourself and ask, or there's also the group chat function. So if you look down at the bottom of your Zoom control bar, you'll see, I always equate them to like the little comic book bubbles. So you'll see that down there for the chat function, so you can ask questions there. So the scheduling is still in progress, right? So once you all submit by the 23rd, we're gonna work really hard over that next couple of weeks to get the program done and together. And then we'll also be reaching out to individuals on how to actually submit their video. We haven't figured that out yet. That is still a detail that we're still trying to assess, right? Whether it might be YouTube or a Canvas site. So we have some things to discuss there yet. So as soon as we have that information, we will definitely let you know. So I'm gonna be quiet. So feel free to ask a question or type it in the chat.
Just out of curiosity, for those of you that are here, have you submitted a proposal already? Do you have ideas for what you would like to do and are just looking for some direction on whether or not it would be appropriate for the forum? You know, talk to us about some of the plans that you have. We can flesh out those ideas.
Hi there. Yes, I have a quick question. You had mentioned that there's the option of doing asynchronous or synchronous presentations of our work. For the synchronous, is there a preferred platform that we'd be using? So would we just be using Zoom for that, or?
So as of right now, still under discussion. So I assume it will be Zoom or WebEx. We have to see what types of submissions we have and then what type of functionalities we really need. So that is still under discussion. So we'll definitely, once we know, we will let you know.
Okay,
But it would either be, it would either be Zoom or WebEx, so one of those functionalities. Okay. So we would prefer that you stick with whatever you sign up for. So if you sign up for synchronous versus asynchronous, just because it makes it more challenging to try and finalize the program if you have folks switching which ones. So if you could, we'd super appreciate it if you selected asynchronous or synchronous and then stuck with that option. And that's just for planning purposes because it just helps us. Thank you for the question. That was a good question. Has anyone filled out the registration form yet? Or are you all still thinking about it? You can also use the chat to answer if you don't feel comfortable unmuting your microphone.
I plan to fill it out. I just haven't finalized a title just yet. So, but it's in the works. It should be done within a day or two.
Wonderful. Good to hear. So everyone's very quiet today. So no other questions? Comments? Concerns? All right, so I do want to be respectful of people's time. So I'm trying to think of anything else that I might add. I think I covered most of it. So any details that we don't have ironed out, so to speak, right now, as soon as we finalize those, right, like platform for visual presentation, how we'll have you upload your presentations, we'll definitely let you know. We have almost 40 judges the last time I checked the spreadsheet, so that's pretty exciting to have almost 40 alumni come back. So we're still working. We like to have about 40 to 45 judges help with this process. So we're still doing some recruiting there. I don't know, just think about being creative this year, right? So going back to that break the box theme. I know at least in my discipline, right, it tends to be like the oral presentation, 10 to 15 minutes, audience Q&A. So now's the year where you can really think about doing something different compared to that. So I know personally, I think it would be wonderful to have folks do performances, show an experiment, talk about your research in a different way, where in a traditional type of conference, you wouldn't have the opportunity to do that. So our hope is you have it, all these different cool formats, and you have fun with it, right? So have some fun with it this year. Maybe we'll see some Powtoons, which I think would also be very nice. It's a very cool way to present. All right. So the other side of the coin is I don't want to get really repetitive either. So I have shared all the information I know. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add? So Haley, Shannon, Alyssa, Deanna, Dr. Ward is also on.
No, I don't think I have anything else to add at this time, except that if you're creating your presentation and you encounter any difficulties or you do encounter any challenges, that you shouldn't hesitate to reach out to the grad school entity account, because we can respond to any inquiries that you have. Understanding that this year, especially if you've participated before, that this year is very different, and we're looking for people to be able to be a little bit different and more creative than you have in the past, as far as thinking outside of just the regular presentation format.
I can add a little bit more too. If you're wondering what you should present and you have data that you either collected as an undergrad or maybe your advisor has data, think broadly about data and ask around. This is really just an opportunity to practice presenting research and not necessarily thinking of this as a defense of a thesis or a dissertation. So we are pretty loose about where you go with your research. It's really an opportunity for prizes. So cash prizes are also for your top 3 posters, or well, I don't know, top whatever categories we go with. But so it's an opportunity to interact with other people, create community, but also practice those skills of talking to a non-specialist.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Dr. Ward. I agree. I feel like we all need extra practice, even me. I've been doing this a long time, and it's just good to stretch those skills to be able to talk about science in a way that everyone can understand, particularly if they're not in your field. So think about, you know, taking out what we would call the academic jargon, right? So I know in sociology, we do have a lot of jargon. So it does help you think about how to translate that for a general public audience. And particularly for you, those of you who are looking to get your science outside of academia, so maybe thinking about op-eds and things like that, getting media coverage. It's once again a really good opportunity to practice those skills, to talk about it in a way that's just really available, so to speak, to all our community members. So it's a really good point. All right, so I'm going to do one last call. We've been together for about a half hour, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So does anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns? All right, so one more thing just to follow up with Alyssa. She showed you the resource page for Powtoon. So if you decide to use other platforms like WordPress or any of those, Wix, I think Haley said Wix has a really great help page too. So the platforms we suggested, they are just suggestions, but we also know they're platforms that have super user-friendly platforms. They have really good help pages. So we're not expecting you to go conquer the world of technology on how you could present, but maybe there is something out there that really does speak to you that's easy to learn, like Powtoon. That would be a great way to present your research. So like Shannon said, if you need us, you can reach out to the graduate school account. You can also email me. I don't even think I introduced myself. Oops. I'm Dr. Kristen Budd. I'm in the sociology department, but I also work within the graduate school. So you can email me at buddkm at miamiohio.edu, and I will help you as best I can. And then also with some of these platforms, e-learning and their resources might also be really helpful to try and learn some of those tools. So, all right, so Haley, Shannon, Alyssa, Deanna, Dr. Ward, anything else you'd like to add? No? All right, so we're gonna call it a wrap, and then we'll get this posted for everyone on GSA and also YouTube. And then, like I said, in the meantime, as we finalize details, we'll definitely shoot them out via email so you'll know. And then we hope we have a fabulous GRF this year. I think it's going to be great. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a fabulous Monday.